Welcome to the Ordinary Marathoner podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Ordinary Marathoner podcast. My name is Coach Scott. I'll be your host today. It is Friday, September 13th. I want to apologize for not putting out a podcast earlier this week. I got to tell you, I got no good excuses. That's actually going to be part of our podcast today. I got no good excuses. I do have some poor excuses. I have some bad excuses, including me getting over this cold. I don't know if you can tell in my voice, but Tuesday I started coming down with a cold, a little sinus-y stuff. Wednesday I was kind of just out of commission. And I tried to put out a podcast. Man, you should hear the voice on that one. But it just wasn't working for me. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. In fact, let's just talk about it now, I guess. We're going to do this in one take. We're going to do this entire podcast, which is what normally I do a podcast in one take anyway. But I'm doing this podcast, and I'm not going to edit it. I'm not going to change it. I'm not going to stop it. I'm just going to go all the way through and power through. And I'll tell you the reason why. And why I have to say that is that the last few weeks, probably the last 2 or 3 weeks, I've had a lot of difficulty putting a podcast together. I'm a podcaster. That's what I do. I get up, I talk to you guys, I record it, and then I edit it slightly and I put it out there. And you guys come and you listen, and you expect it to be there when it should be there. And in the last couple of weeks, it hasn't always been there. Now, what's the problem? Now, am I not doing a podcast? Am I being lazy and just not putting the headphones on and hitting record button? What am I doing? What's the deal? What is the deal? And the deal is this: is that I'm in this weird mode lately. And I've been here before, and I've done things like this before. Is I podcast and I record, and I talk for a while. And I don't have a plan, and things go awry. Not awry, but they go in directions that I didn't really expect them to. I don't have an outline. I don't have a coherent thought. I just start talking and see where it goes. And for a while, that was the podcast anyway. But I think in general, I had a general outline, a general sense of what I want to talk about. And we always had the Ironman training to talk about. So that was kind of the outline: is what did I do yesterday? What am I going to do today? What are the plans? How do I feel? And what, anything else going on after that. Now that the race is over, I'm really having trouble coming up with things to talk about. And I show up the same way I do for old podcasts. I don't have that coherent thought in my mind. When I start talking, I start wandering in other directions, and I never really quite feel comfortable with what I've talked about and the product I've put together. Now, that happened last week to a large degree. I told you guys I was trying to tell the story about how I was recruited in college for baseball and how I dreamed of playing in the major leagues, and that kind of blew up on me. And I wanted to tell that story, and I told it. I told it multiple times. I recorded it multiple times. All those recordings are now destroyed, by the way. So if I want to do it again, I have to do it again. I did hear from a couple of you guys, like 2 people said, "Hey, you got to tell that story." So it's kind of in flux. It's like, I don't know. It's a dark story without a happy ending. And it points a lot of fingers, and I don't know that it necessarily paints me in the best light, but I'm willing to tell it. I just don't know if it fits the narrative for this show. So the point of the fact is that I sit here and I spend a lot of time in front of the camera and a lot of time thinking about what I should say and what I should do. And I never, when it doesn't bear fruit, when it doesn't have a finished product, it frustrates me. It annoys me. And it happened again earlier this week. Now, I told you I was sick on Wednesday. I was, but I did try to do a podcast on Wednesday. Now, Wednesday was September 11th. That day, as it is to a lot of us, is very important to me. I lived in New York City. I worked in New York City. Just one of those crazy days where, and I tell you, if you guys are young and you weren't alive for that, put it this way, there is every day I've ever lived, and then there's September 11th. And it's just a day where as soon as it started happening and as soon as the event started unfolding, you knew that you were in the middle of history. And that this was going to be a day that no one was going to forget and people were going to talk about forever. You knew it. And not every day is like that. You could say there are special days. Hey, when I wake up on a day that I'm doing Ironman and I know I'm doing an Ironman and then I finish, like that's a day that I personally will remember. It means a lot to me. Obviously, there's no comparison to September 11th. All I'm saying is in terms of when you look at a day, every day is sort of normal. Every day is kind of the same. Every day they blend into one another. And then when you're in the midst of a day that you know is just different, it is a different feeling. And especially when it's not planned, when you just kind of wake up and you go to work one day and things change. And everything changed that day. Everything. Now, my problem when they talk about September 11th is a lot of different things. I get caught on tangents and I talk about things that I don't necessarily want to talk about. And you guys that listen to the show, I'm a big cynic and I'm somewhat conspiratorial. And I definitely have views on that day and the aftermath and things that I've seen and read that I have changed my tune a lot when it comes to what may have actually happened that day. And we don't want to talk about this for the podcast. It's not for that. That's for private conversation. Anyone wants to have that conversation with me, I'm welcome to have it. It's just not for the podcast. But the problem is when I talk about September 11th, I get carried away. And then go into a tangent. And before I know it, I look down. I've been talking for 15 minutes about things that I don't want to talk about on the podcast. I hit the stop button and I move on. And I guess for the purpose of the podcast, I guess what I'm talking about here is it's really about self-sabotage. I put the time in. I'm putting the time in. I'm doing the things that I should be doing, and then I'm not allowing myself to open myself to success or to finish what I want to start, or I'm not fine tuning what I need to fine tune to put out a product that I want and that I'm going to be proud of. Does that make sense? And you can overlay this self-sabotage topic to training and to working out. And so one of the things that happens here is that even today, I've done this podcast 2 or 3 times, and I don't like it. I'm in this mode. I'm in this frame of mind where I have to put up this level of productivity or quality. I would say that satisfies me as I hate to say artist because I don't feel like podcasting is an art, but maybe it is. So as an artist, I've never thought of myself that way. But as an artist, I have to put this thing out. It goes out in public. Anyone can see it. So I feel like I have to have this level of quality that fits my own self-satisfaction. And when I'm in this mode where nothing seems to satisfy me, I am spinning the wheels and I'm doing all the work with none of the results. And it's a very strange place for me to be because normally I like to make lists. I am a very regimented person. I like to be orderly. I like to check things off as I go. That's just the way I've always been. I like to do things, get it done, move on. Be productive. You feel productive. And when you get stuck in this self-sabotage spinning wheel, it's like you're doing the task. I'm recording the podcast. I'm not putting it out there. So I'm never actually finishing. It's like I'm attempting the task. I'm working at the task, but I'm never checking the box. Does that make sense? And I'm sabotaging myself. I don't have an outline. I do now. Right now, it's the first podcast I've done in 2 weeks that I have an outline because I felt like I needed it. Because I keep going on these tangents and I don't want to talk about. Right now, if I didn't have the outline, I'd still be talking about September 11th. And that's kind of the way I'm self-sabotaging myself. I'm not putting my stuff out there. I'm not progressing. And I think about it. It's taking time away from my own personal life too, because I keep thinking I got to put a podcast and it bothers me. And then I wind up worrying about it. And then I never put one out there. And then it takes away time from other things. I have not done any strength training in about 3 weeks. And we specifically talked about this on the podcast. I've not done yoga in about 3 weeks. Specifically talked about this on the podcast. My time to do that stuff is in the morning. And if I'm sitting here talking to myself over and over and never putting out the quality that I want and recording and stopping and deleting and recording and stopping and deleting, if I'm doing that, I'm sabotaging myself in other ways. I'm not getting my workouts done. We talked about the importance of strength training and consistency. Through every 3 days, every 4 days, I got to get in there. I got to do it. Gotta. And if you do it if you just do the work, and it's not even that much time, 20 minutes to a half an hour, just do that work, I will not lose strength. I will gain strength if I do it every 3 or 4 days. If I wait a week, I won't gain strength. I'll be lucky to just maintain. If I start getting to 2 weeks, I'm going to start to lose. Now I'm at 3 weeks, and I'm a little nervous to get in there, to be honest. I'm a little nervous to get in there and see, I'm going to have to take weight off the bar. I'm going to have to, it bothers me. And again, self-sabotage. I've been wasting my time trying to record podcasts that I know when I start aren't going to be up to snuff, that aren't going to be a product that I necessarily love. And when I get into it, and especially the one when I was talking about my college experiences, talk for 45 minutes to an hour and stop and delete. Or I get frustrated because the guy outside is mowing the lawn, or Ellie's upstairs crying and I can hear it and it drives me nuts. And instead of stopping and starting over again, or just, I just bag the whole thing. I've missed a few runs. That's another thing. Missed a few runs. I've been doing a lot of work on the bike. And the reason isn't because I need to improve on the bike for sure, but I have an upcoming marathon. And my problem has been I get to my long runs lately and my feet are killing me. And I think it's just kind of like a hangover, soreness and fatigue from Ironman Lake Placid. I still have some dead skin on my feet from the blisters that I had. I know that's gross, but the blisters haven't healed fully. My feet just took a pounding that day. And every time I run on them, I feel like I'm testing them out, and I don't want to do any more damage. So I've been taking a lot of work to the bike. I did the bike. So I tried to run on Saturday, and I did 8 miles instead of the 13 that I was supposed to, and the feet were killing me. And I said, all right, I got to draw a line here. I don't think I'm injured. And as a coach, that's important to me, because if you're injured, you got to take care of that. You got to go to the doctor. I don't think I'm injured. I'm not hobbling. I'm not walking funny. I'm not feeling any extraordinary pain that I normally don't feel. It's just when I run 10 miles, my feet get very fatigued and they hurt. They hurt. They feel like they've just, they've had too much. And, I don't think that I'm injured. I don't think it's an injury. I think it's, I adjusted my training, and we're going to see how this progresses before, doing anything rash. So now I'm on the bike, and I'm trying and doing a lot of walking too. I'm taking Ellie outside, going for long walks, just trying to get some time on my feet without the pounding of running. I think that makes sense. And we're going to see this week. I have like an 8-mile run, which I should be able to do no problem. I don't think I'm going to have an issue with that. And then we're going to go through another week, and then we'll try again a little bit longer distance the week after. And then, if I'm still feeling pain after that, then yeah, I'm going to have to go to the doctor. But I don't think it's anything. I don't think it's an injury. Pretty sure. You get experience over time, and you kind of can figure out what's an injury and what's not. And I don't think this is. This is just fatigue, and I think just a hangover from Lake Placid. The problem, I guess, overall. So I've missed a few runs. I've missed my strength training. I missed my yoga, and I want to take this back to like January, February. And I've missed the podcasts, and I'm feeling bad about all this stuff. Team Ordinary is not where I want it to be right now. I wanted it to be, and that's even to no fault of my own. We're going to talk about that in a minute. The problem is once I got through Ironman, I lost my routine. I completely lost it. I don't wake up early. I wake up at 7, and also, my routine has gotten a little bit of some interference. School started for Sam. So now it's like, I get up, I have to get up at 7. I got to make her breakfast. I got to get her ready for school. I got to drive her to school. I got to pick her up at 2:15. That's just the way the schedule is now. So I got to squeeze work into that, like probably 9 o'clock to 2 o'clock is my hours, 5 hours of solid work where I got to put together the podcast. I got to do a workout, do any other kind of tasks around here, make lunch, all that stuff. And, I got a 5-hour window, which seems like a lot, but it's not really. It's really not. So the thing is like if I want to get that more time, I'm going to have to wake up a little earlier, which in the past I've been able to do. I just haven't been doing it. I haven't been setting myself up for success in that matter either. I've been going to bed really late. So the thing is, I've lost my routine, and I used to have it. I used to own it, right? And I was in a good. I mean, I put together podcasts every day for a long period of time. I had a routine. I stuck to it, and I've lost that routine. Part of it's the self-sabotage, and part of it is just events unfolded, and now I've just lost it. I don't have that routine. So I need to develop that routine again. And I need to think about it. I need to think about, all right, you know what? If I'm planning on waking up early, if that's the plan, well then I got to go to bed early. So no more Monday night football. What was last night, Thursday night football? I was up till 12:30 watching the game, watching my fantasy team get destroyed. Thank you, O.J. Howard and Christian McCaffrey. McCaffrey I let off the hook. He had a good week one. O.J. Howard, I don't know what the hell happened to him this year. I don't even think they threw him the ball yesterday. He was out there on a lot of plays. He just didn't get the ball. Anyway. And not only once you develop the routine, so once I sit down and think about it and say to myself, all right, you know what? I got to start working up early. This is the way it's got to get done. Then I have to follow through. And I call that fighting for the routine, right? We talked about this before. I call it fighting for the routine. Not only do you have to like develop the routine and say, all right, this is what I want to do. And you know what too? Sometimes I see myself and I say, you know what? I'm not the kind of person that wakes up at 7 a.m. But yet I can aspire. And I say 7 a.m. That's what time I'm waking up now. But I'm definitely not the kind of person that wakes up at 5 a.m. But I look up to the people that can wake up at 5 a.m. I look at them and I say, wow, that is discipline. That is impressive. That impresses me. You know, and maybe when I was younger, that wouldn't impress me as much. I would just say, what are you doing waking up at 5 a.m.? I'd rather be up late at night than early in the morning. And you also had more energy when you were younger too. But now it's like, I don't really care about I'm wasting my time by being up late at night typically. And waking up early in the morning is something that I'd love to be able to do. I just don't do it. And it's about the discipline and it's about fighting for that. You got to earn that. But sometimes what I have to do is I really got to take myself out of my own skin and sort of look at myself from like up here, right? Just put my psyche like way up here and look down at that person that is me and say, all right, what does that guy do that impresses me? What does that guy do that doesn't impress me? What can he do that would impress me? And sometimes it's, you know, if I look at people like say Katie Mayo, Mary O'Connell, Carla McCollum, you guys wake up early. You guys get the job done every day. And yeah, I know you take days off here and there, but you guys get it done every day. And I am impressed. And I wish I could have that kind of self-discipline. Well, why can't I? Why can't I have that self-discipline? And the answer is I can. I just got to fight for it. I got to do it. I got to make the right choices. I'll give you another example. Is two of the athletes I'm coaching. One of them, my wife, Stephanie, and Aura. Coaching them for the Marine Corps Marathon. These guys are working hard. They are working hard. And I put a workout in there and it doesn't fit their schedule and they've been making it fit. I put a run on there yesterday. We were working with the schedule, trying to get some stuff in. I said, all right, you guys got to run 4 miles. Well, when can we do it? They like to do it together. They like to run together and do their workouts together. That's like their thing, their support system. Perfectly cool. Well, when can we get this in? 4 mile run. When can we get it in? Well, the only time they could match their schedules was 6 a.m. So I'm sleeping and Stephanie's alarm goes off. 5:45. She rolls out of bed. She puts her clothes on. She goes out to go running. Well, later on that morning, Sam rolls out of bed. She wakes up and making breakfast, and it's time to go to school and throw her in the car, and we start driving. It is pouring rain outside. Pouring rain. I mean, coming down really hard. And I'm thinking, I hope they got indoors. Like, I hope they're working on the treadmill in the gym or something. I hope they aren't out in this. Well, fact of the matter is, they were out in it. They were out in the pouring pouring rain for their 4-mile run. And not only that, but they made a wrong turn and they didn't necessarily plan out their run very well. They went up doing 5 miles. And granted, when you're the coach and you prescribe 4 miles, you want them to do the 4 miles. You don't necessarily want them to do more. But when you make a wrong turn and you got an extra mile to go to the car and it's pouring rain, all right, exception made. Run to the car, right? Run to the car. But that's just an example of people fighting for it. People that want it, people that are just in the zone, and they'll do whatever it takes to check off the box to get what they need to do done. And unfortunately, I think I've been outside that mode, especially when it comes to the podcast, and apologize for that. And then the other factor I want to talk about, so I'll talk about Team Ordinary here. Team Ordinary is coming along nicely. And I feel like I've done pretty much everything I could do. Granted, there are some people that I still haven't reached out to that are still on my list. My list is dwindling. I think, so I looked at the other day, there's actually 75 people on the list, and I probably contacted about 45, 50 of them. So I still have more. If you haven't heard from me, A, you can reach out to me personally. That'd be great. I love hearing from you guys. And B, if you think you're on your list, you can just wait. I'll probably reach out to you when I can. You're gonna want to talk to me anyway, before this thing rolls out. If you're interested, for sure, give me a ring. Anyway, I've been working hard on this. Now, the reason it hasn't completely rolled out is because I'm waiting on some gear still. We ordered all this gear, shirts, hats. You love the hat. I love the hat. I got the shirts. I got the hat. Now, last week I was in there picking up the shirts and the hats. And the people there couldn't be nicer. Couldn't be nicer to my face. They're really sweet, really nice. They helped me carry the boxes to the car, and some of them were heavy too. I like them a lot, and I like dealing with people that I like. The problem is that when you order something and you're told when it should be there, it should be there. And when you have questions, you want them answered. So I send emails; they don't get answered sometimes. So I got told when I picked up the stuff on Friday or Thursday, whenever I picked up the hats and the shirts. They said, the rest of your stuff will be in early next week. Early next week. Now, what do you think early next week means? Now, see, I look at Wednesday as midweek, and I look at Thursday, Friday as later in the week, and I look at Monday, Tuesday, that leaves Monday, Tuesday, that's early next week. Monday, Tuesday. So Monday, Tuesday goes by, and I don't get a call, I don't get an email. Wednesday comes by, I'm thinking, all right, this is midweek, but all right, let's just still give them the benefit of the doubt. I don't hear anything. Yesterday is Thursday, and I'm like, all right, it's time to call. And I call and I'm very nice and I'm very kind. And I try. The thing is, I always look at it this way. When you've placed an order and someone's working on things that they're doing for you, you got to be nice. You don't want them to screw things up, or you don't want them to say, hey, if you're going to be that mean about it, we're just not going to do it. And then all of a sudden now I got to wait another 3 weeks to get somebody else to do the job that they didn't do. Because I was mean. Plus, I like being nice in general. So I called yesterday. I said, listen, you told me to be ready early this week. Being very nice. I just wanted to check up on it. Maybe I missed the email, or maybe you guys called and you don't have the right number, or maybe, I don't know. I just wanted to know because I'm waiting on things for this. I have other tasks that need to be done once this is finished. And she said, you know what, I got to get back to you. She's like, I'll look into this and I'll call you right back. The work isn't done where she is. She has to go find out what's being done and when it's going to be done. I'll call you right back, she says. Well, today's Friday. And the phone has not rang. And I'm upset and I'm mad because we have a lot of work to do. And it's holding everything up. And they know it's holding everything up, and they're late, and they know they're late, and now they gotta know I'm starting to get upset, and I'm not gonna tell you who they are. And the problem is this. The problem is that I'm gonna want to order more shirts at some point. If we go through, I have 100 hats. We have 30 bios already on the page. We start getting, a little more push here, and I'm gonna need more hats. What the hell? What do I do? Do I call them again? I don't know. It's just, and the people couldn't be nicer when I go there. They really couldn't. And I really want this to work out because they're so convenient and they're right around the block from where I live. And it's just, It's driving me nuts. So I keep a list of things that I need to do on my board here. And I looked at the list yesterday, and at the top of the list it said order shirts, and then it had a date, August 1. So we went to visit them before I got to Lake Placid, and between the design process, which took way too long, and between all the stuff being ordered and printed, which is taking way too long, and between hey, it'll be ready early next week, and then it's Friday and I still don't have the stuff, and they don't call me back, it's driving me insane. And so I asked you this question though, to what extent should I let it drive me insane? It's not my fault this stuff isn't ready. It's not my fault that they're not calling me back, that I don't have these boxes, I need this stuff to get, and it's bothering the hell out of me. But it's nothing I can control other than making more calls and badgering more people. And like I said, you start badgering people too much, and the next thing you know, the order doesn't get filled, and you got to move on to another vendor, which it's only going to take more time. And right now, the thing that I want, the thing that I'm lamenting the most is time. So to what extent do you let outside interference bother you? And this kind of all ties in together with the theme of developing routine, fighting for that routine, and then living it, and going through with it, and being consistency. And I think I've been a little bit off of that, and for whatever reason, and just for me, I think throwing myself a little bit out of routine, a little bit out of whack, and throwing a few more variables involved that are a little bit questionable, it really throws me for a loop. And I gotta kind of tighten that up, and I gotta be able to push these podcasts out on a more regular basis. And that's it. I don't know. Anyway, lastly, on one really good note, when it comes to Team Ordinary, the one thing I really love about it is the race schedule that we've put together on the site. So for anyone who joins, you get your bio page, you get your gear package, and you're going to get your name on the race schedule. Now, if you look on the race schedule this week, I think there's only one race, and it's Tyshawn Laws doing the Rock and Roll Half-Marathon, his first half-marathon, by the way, in Philly. And I got to tell you, I'm rooting for this guy, man. He's one of my favorites. Tyshawn, if you're out there, I'm rooting for you, man. You get this thing done. You've been working hard. I've seen some of your long runs, man. You're ready. Working hard, dude. I love it. I love it. But now I get it's one of those things where in the past, I wouldn't know that Tyshawn's running this week. I would have totally forgotten. And he posts on Facebook and he posts on Twitter from time to time, but it's not in my face enough where I will definitely see it and know that he's racing and know that it's an important race for him. But now that it's on the schedule, I know it's there and I see it and I'm like, yes. And some of the races that aren't on the schedule this weekend but are important, Sarah Miller is running her first full marathon in Washington. And I think she said she planned to walk the whole thing, but man, that's still an accomplishment. And that's still finishing a marathon. You still be proud of yourself for that sucker. Get that done this weekend, Sarah. And she's going to be on the podcast next week to talk about her experience running her first marathon. So really looking forward to talking to you, Sarah, with that. Good luck this weekend. Angela Fillmore is doing a half marathon this weekend. Angela has been kind of up and down, I think, in her training over the summer, but lately she's kind of tightened it up. And I know she did a big run 2 weeks ago. She did her kind of tapering run last weekend, 10K. I think she's been kicking it out lately and doing a little bit better. She's a little bit concerned about this race, but we got your back, Angela. I think you're going to do okay. She's done marathons before. So this is only a half. I think it's not only natural to kind of question it, but I think she's going to be all right and she's going to pull through. Anyway, these 3 races this week, I can't wait to see how you guys do. And I probably wouldn't know about them if it wasn't for Team Ordinary. So I'm looking forward to kind of continuing with this concept and putting it together and getting more people involved. It's really exciting for us over here, and it's it's the thing we're really looking forward to develop. So on that note, I think we're going to call it a day. Hey guys, I finished a podcast. I'm going to pat myself on the back for this one. And remember, every day is an ordinary day unless you make it extraordinary. So get after it, guys.
remember to like our video and subscribe to our channel.